Hey guys, let's get more news from Dallas, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Cowboys offense takes losses while hanging with Kid Rock. There are bad optics. And then there is whatever the Dallas Cowboys are and are not doing. Nero playing the violin while Rome burned comes to mind. While the Cowboys were busy as expected cutting free receiver Michael Gallup and linebacker Leighton Vander Esch over the weekend, they also let veteran left tackle anchor Tyron Smith walk in free agency to the New York Jets. We don't define all in by what you spend in free agency. It's keeping your core and some of the great players in this league like Dak Prescott, like Micah Parsons, like CeeDee Lamb, like Trayvon Diggs, Stevens said. That's what we define as all in, is trying to keep those guys. You don't win Super Bowl championships in the first 3 days of free agency. At least from our viewpoint. Sorry, but when you've gone 28 years since sniffing a Super Bowl, the benefit of the doubt sorta rings hollow. While the Cowboys crow about keeping their own players other than, Tyron and Dorrance Armstrong and Tony Pollard and Tyler Baiadas, their offensive line in mid-March is an absolute mess. With Tyron gone, let's assume Tyler Smith slides to left tackle. Or perhaps that position will go to the 24th overall pick in next month's NFL draft. Leaving Tyler at a left guard position in which he has excelled. That leaves at center. Brock Hoffman? Gulp. Zach Martin will again anchor the line at right guard, and Terrence Steele overachieved last season at right tackle. But even in that scenario, a team coming off 3 consecutive 12-win seasons will be looking at trotting out a rookie and Hoffman on its starting offensive line. Nero, play another verse. Lord have mercy. Cowboys ex Deion Sanders predicts Super Bowl for Derrick Henry's Ravens. The Dallas Cowboys didn't think it was worth a phone call. The Baltimore Ravens did, and now Deion Sanders, who played for both teams in his Hall of Fame career, thinks the latter team's decision is a Super Bowl-worthy one. Coach Prime took to social media to voice his approval of the notable signing of Derrick Henry and to offer a notable prediction. Henry and Lamar Jackson with the Ravens. Lord have mercy on the rest of the league because it's a rap. Wow. This is epic. Sanders is essentially indicating he thinks it's all over for the rest of the league because this signing can push the Ravens up and over the top toward a Super Bowl championship, though obviously, the team that kept them from doing so this year, Patrick Mahomes' Kansas City Chiefs, will have say in this. But it's true that on paper, even at age 30, Henry, who ran for 1,167 yards on 280 carries last year, teaming with Jackson, who was a dual threat who won the NFL MVP last year, might cause some league defenses to say a prayer before they face the Ravens. Cowboys trade proposal would bring bell cow Texans RB to Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys are still searching for their next running back, and the solution could lie with the Houston Texans. In terms of low-risk, high-reward options, Dameon Pierce could make a lot of sense as a Cowboy. On March 17, Blogging the Boys writer David Howman suggested Pierce as a trade target. While Howman admits that Pierce's stock has fallen over the past year or so, he explains that he is still worth considering. While the Cowboys have done some due diligence on a couple free agent running backs, Pierce would be an excellent trade candidate, Howman wrote. His running style fits well into this offense, and Dallas would have him under contract for 2 years, with his cap hit never going higher than $1.3 million. Between Pierce's diminished role in Houston and the Joe Mixon trade, the Cowboys could likely get him for a relatively cheap compensation. Being able to land a young and talented RB for that kind of price is something that RB-needy teams like Dallas can't afford to turn down. Spotrac estimates that the Cowboys only have $4 million in cap space to work with, so saving money is as important as ever. Pierce joined the Texans as a 4th-round pick in the 2022 NFL Draft after playing his college ball at Florida. While the Texans were a year from QB C.J. Stroud in 2022, Pierce was a bright spot during a difficult season. According to Pro Football Reference, Pierce totaled 939 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns in 13 games in 2022. The former Gator averaged 4.3 yards per carry, and also added 30 receptions for 165 yards and another touchdown. That's about as good as it gets for rookies, but the sophomore slump was also real for Pierce. Fellow Texans RB Devin Singletary became the hot hand in 2023, and Singletary's usage and production drastically dropped. In 14 appearances, Pierce ran for 416 yards and 2 touchdowns. While that's not ideal, the silver lining is that Pierce hasn't been ran into the ground over the past 2 years. For the Cowboys or any other interested team, he's still just 24, with plenty of gas in the tank. Other than the signing of LB Eric Kendricks, the Cowboys have brought in 0 free agents. While Dallas doesn't have tons of holes to fill across the roster, there are clear spots like RB and defensive line that are still lacking. For CBS Sports analyst Garrett Podale, the approach is the definition of nonchalant. This inactivity indicates the Cowboys' front office doesn't mind not being able to make many moves at the start of free agency. This nonchalant attitude only hurts the team and precludes them from re-signing 8-time Pro Bowl left tackle Tyron Smith, 5-time Pro Bowl cornerback Stephon Gilmore and a running back to replace Pollard among other critical transactions, Podale wrote. Kendricks is an exciting addition, but there's no clear sign that the Cowboys will address other spots in free agency. Dallas fans may have to wait for the NFL draft in order to see what other reinforcements are coming in. On a day when the United Football League announced the site of its league championship game, news broke that star running back Abram Smith, who could have greatly aided the DC Defenders in their quest to get back to a title game, was lost for the season with a left torn ACL suffered in practice. The devastating news is a massive loss for the UFL as the newly merged XFL-USFL League loses one of its premier players. But no one has been more devastated than the Defenders. Smith, the Baylor standout who was 4th in the nation with 1,601 rushing yards in 2021, lived up to his billing as the top overall selection in the XFL 2023 draft. As a de facto pro rookie, after just missing the NFL cut in the fall of 2022, Smith led the XFL in rushing and touchdowns in a star-making performance. The former linebacker's blend of size and breakaway speed, coupled with DC's blocking scheme, was a perfect marriage. One that has been abruptly put on hold in an undetermined future for both the player and the team. With just over 2 weeks until the start of the UFL season, one which will see the Defenders back in San Antonio, the site of last year's XFL championship loss to the Arlington Renegades, DC has little time to recover from losing its best player. General Manager Vaughn Hutchins has been working the phones since Smith's injury in practice, looking for potential replacements. Replacing Smith is a tall and almost impossible task, but the team has options to try and soften the blow. And you fan, what do you think of the bell cow situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.